I recently discovered that I've been making a huge mistake in my business, and it's kind of embarrassing to admit on the internet, but I've always said that this channel is about documenting my journey and bringing you guys along with me, and that means showing you the ups and the downs as they happen. I feel like in my YouTube agency, we were on a roll. We had surpassed making $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, even $30,000 per month. But when I was looking at my bank account at the end of the month, I felt like there wasn't enough of that left over to justify all of the work that went into earning it. So one of my brothers, who's a math whiz, helps me in the business, and I asked him to take a look at things. And he sent me a 3-year-old Alex Hormozy video that said the number one problem that most business owners have is their gross margin. In order for you not to fall into that trap, I want to share with you why this one concept and how you decide to price your services is so important to the amount of money that you keep at the end of each month. And because this is an area of struggle for me, I asked my brother to help me make a calculator that will do all of the math for us, and all we have to do is understand the underlying concepts. I'll put the link to that calculator so you can grab it for free in the top comment, but first, let's dive in. Whatever your business or side hustle is, you charge some amount to a customer in order for you to give them that thing. There's a business idea that's been stuck in my head because a couple of days ago, I was leaving my house and I saw a truck picking up trash cans on the side of the road, but it wasn't a trash truck. And as I got closer, the trash can got lifted up by like this mechanical arm, and there was a guy in the back of the truck with a power washer, and he was spraying soapy water into the trash can. It's a trash can cleaning business, and that's a pretty cool service business. So that's what we'll use as our example today. Let's say it's just the cost that you have to pay the guy to drive the truck and the cost you have to pay the guy standing on the back of the truck to spray the trash cans out. We're gonna imagine that you tell those guys, hey, I will pay you $50 per trash can that you spray on your route. And so when you get one more customer, you have to pay $50 more to those guys. You'd probably even say that the cost of water is part of your gross margin. Maybe it costs you $10 per gallon of water and you need a gallon to spray out a trash can. So every time you get a new customer, you gotta pay the guy who drives $50, you gotta pay the guy who sprays $50, and you gotta pay $10 in water. And here's what's really important. You don't consider the cost of the truck or the cost of the power washer when you are calculating your gross margin, because you already own those things. And so when you get one more customer, it's not like you have to buy another truck or another power washer. You can service more customers with the equipment that you have. You just have to pay the guys in order to actually provide the service. I know I'm oversimplifying this, but that's actually how it works. Your gross margin is what's left over after the direct cost of delivering the product or the service. Underneath your gross margin is your net margin. And this is the reason that Drake said it's gross what I net, is because gross isn't actually what you take home, net is. This is what's left over after all the costs of operating the business have been paid. This is what's left in the bank account at the end of the month that is yours to do what you want with. Now that we understand gross and net, let's put some super simple numbers on paper. This is how most people calculate their margin and their profit, and this is what I was doing before, and it's completely wrong. So let's say that you own this trash can cleaning business and you decide that you're going to charge your customers $250 a month to get their trash cans cleaned out every week after trash day. That is your revenue, how much money you're gonna bring in for each new customer. And remember, we said that you would pay the person who drives the truck $50, the person who sprays in the back $50, and it also costs you $10 in water for every single new customer. You decide that you're gonna work in your business and you're gonna be the person spraying the back of the truck, so you don't have to pay anybody $50 for that. You just have to pay the driver and you have to pay for the water. So in actuality, you're gonna pay $60 per sale. And this reminds me that I was actually wrong right here. This is not a per month number. This is a per sale number, right? So you make $250 per sale. It costs you $60 to deliver on that sale. So it seems like you have $190 per sale left over. And here's how you calculate your gross margin. You take that $190, you divide it by how much you make per sale. So 190 divided by 250, here we're just gonna use our calculator, is going to be 0.76. or 76% gross margin. And it looks like you make $190 per new sale. But this is wrong. Instead, let's look at how it really ends up working out. If we charge that same $250 per sale, and we're still gonna work on the truck, So we're gonna pay our team $60 per sale. You are not always going to want to or be available to work on the truck. You might want to take a vacation or sleep in or just get tired of doing that and want to do other things with your time. At the end of the day, that's the reason that you own a business, is to get financial and time and location freedom. The second thing is that if your business gets big enough, you might get 2 trucks, and then you won't be able to be on both trucks at the same time. So you need to know what your personal replacement cost is. I am not saying that you can't work in your own business. I still do. But you need to know what it would cost to hire someone else to do what you're doing. And you need to consider that in your numbers, because you don't want a business that only works if you're actually still there, because then you're not able to leave, and that's worse than a job. You've just built yourself a prison. So in this case, our personal replacement cost would be the $50 that we would have to pay someone to spray out the back of the trash cans. And if we are still gonna do it ourselves, great, we have an extra $50 per sale to work with. And if we ever don't want to be on the truck, we know that our business still works, even when we pay someone to do the job that we used to do. I'll show you guys how to do all of this on the calculator with it doing the math for you, but first we have to understand the concept itself. So now when we consider that personal replacement cost, we're not making $190 per sale. We're gonna make $50 less. We're gonna make $140 per sale. And let's see how this affects our gross margin. We're now making $140 on every $250, and that equals 0.56, or a 56% gross margin. There's a 20% difference between thinking we were taking home $190 per sale and actually looking at $140 per sale. And you might not think that's a huge deal. It's only $50. But the second thing that most people miss is not just the personal replacement cost and how that's gonna affect their gross margin, but also they forget to calculate their net margin. And that is what you actually take home. So let's take this one step further. And if you're still with me and you're committed to understanding this so that you can grow your business, just do me a favor, hit the like button to let me know that this is helpful. So we've got our $140 per sale. The first thing that most people usually forget about is your taxes. And I recommend that you use a 25% tax savings rate, because unlike when you're at a job, when you're an entrepreneur, no one is taking taxes out of your check or out of your money before you see it. You have to be able to look at that revenue number, that big number that you're making, and realize that taxes are gonna have to be paid on that at the end of the year. So if you don't set aside for it now, you're gonna be in a world of trouble when that hits. So in this case, we would just take 0.25 times 140, and that equals $35 per sale that we need to set aside. The other thing that people forget about is your cost to acquire a customer, which is oftentimes called your CAC, and we're gonna put that at 20%. What this is how much does it cost you to go out into the marketplace, into the world, and get a new customer? Maybe in this trash can cleaning business, you're gonna run Facebook ads or TikTok ads to let people know about your service. That's something you're gonna have to pay for. Maybe you're gonna go around and you're gonna knock on people's doors and you're gonna offer them to clean their trash can for free if they sign up for a 2-month deal or something like that. That is still gonna cost money. Even if you do it yourself, remember, you have to consider your personal replacement cost. So if you set aside 20% of each sale to go into that marketing or customer acquisition cost bucket, then you will be able to continue getting new customers. So 20% of our 140, if we do the math, is gonna be $28 per sale that we need to set aside. So $35 plus $28 equals $63 per sale. $140 per sale, which is what we make before taking out taxes and customer acquisition costs. So 140 minus our $63 per sale now leaves us with just $77 per sale. Okay, and we thought we were having $140 per sale, even with our reduced 56% gross margin. So it's kind of looking bleak, but don't worry, I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix this, and I'll show you how to use the calculator to do all the math and figure it out for you. But before that, there is one more step, and that's where you consider how much do you want the business to actually make you every month. This is something you must know before going in. How much would it be worth for you to do all of the work to build the business and deal with all of the stress that comes along with being an entrepreneur? Like, how much do you need to make at the end of the month for that to be worth it? Let's say that you are doing this trash can business as a side hustle. You'd be happy if you could make $2,000 per month from this side hustle. Okay, your choice, but let's use that for our purposes today. If we are making $77 per sale, we still have to consider what are the fixed costs of running this business. That might be any software subscriptions that you need in order to manage the schedule on the back end or have customers pay you, or all of the different things that you just have to pay every single month in order to actually run a business. I always recommend that you set aside at least $300 per month for that type of thing. So in this case, you're making $77 per sale. You also have a $300 a month fixed cost. In order for this side hustle business to make $2,000 per month, you would need to have 30 customers every single month. Some of you might be thinking, is this good? Is this bad? Let me show you what happens and how much easier your life as a business owner gets when you reach Alex Hormozi's recommended 80% gross margin from the beginning. Remember, our gross margin in this scenario was 56%. So for this, let's go to the calculator. This is it, the pricing calculator. And it may look confusing, but you've made it this far. Just stick with me. I'll show you around. First, you'll see that there are instructions over here on the right-hand side. And the number one thing is that it's going to tell you to only fill out the boxes that are in yellow. No need to change or edit any other boxes. Then you're going to see that we have two scenarios. The first scenario being our ideal 80% gross margin scenario that Alex Hormozi recommends. And then you have our current scenario, which we talked about was the 56% gross margin. For each of the lines in these columns, you'll see a label over here on the left-hand side that will tell you what to fill in. So let's go over our current scenario. We said that $250 was what we were going to charge per client. It would cost $60 for someone to drive and to use the water while we're spraying out the trash can, and that our personal replacement cost, if we ever want to step off the truck, is $50. Okay, so we have $140. There's our 56% gross margin. When we come down to our second section, you can see that the tax rate in row 10 is our 25%. The marketing cost is our 20%. You can change these numbers because they're in yellow, but I do recommend that you use those numbers minimum. From there, you're going to see the fixed cost, which again, I recommended you had $300 minimum for your monthly fixed cost. That shows us that our net profit per sale is the $77, and that in order to reach $2,000 per month profit in this business, we would need 30 clients. So how can we make our life easier on ourselves? It's actually really simple. Once you fill out all of the yellow categories on the calculator, you then just come over to the ideal scenario and it'll tell you how much you need to charge in order to have an 80% gross margin. Let's look at what that actually means for your life as a business owner. So the cost to deliver the product is still the same. Your replacement cost is still the same, but instead of making $140 per sale, you make $440 per sale. And that gives you an 80% gross margin. And what most people think right here is two things. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of money per sale, and I feel like I am overcharging. But remember, this is just what you are grossing. It's actually not what you're netting. This number is going to get whittled down, which I'll show you. The second thing people think is, oh my gosh, no one's going to pay me that much. I could get the clients at $250 a month, but how am I ever going to get the clients at $550 per month? And here's the last thing you'll see when we get to the bottom of the calculator. The number of clients that you need to get when you're charging low prices is going to be really high. And yes, it's true. It's going to be slightly easier to get those clients because you're charging less, but it's also going to be much more of a headache because you have so many more clients. On the other side, when you charge the correct amount to get you to that 80% gross margin, yes, you will get more people saying no, and therefore you will have fewer clients. Because each of those clients are worth more to you, you can still make the same amount of money with far fewer clients and also far less headache. And I'll show you exactly what I mean when we get down to this last row on the calculator. So we charge $550, and with an 80% gross margin, we're left with $440. We're still going to do our taxes at 25. And because we made more, that 25% is going to be higher. We're going to have $110 to set aside for taxes. We're still going to do 20% in our marketing cost. And here's a hidden beauty in this. Instead of just having $28 to go find a new customer, we now have $88 to go find a new customer. So while it might seem difficult, I'm gonna charge more, so I'm not gonna be able to find customers. Well, you also have $60 more per customer to run more ads, to do more door knocking, to just find more customers. And so your business is gonna get bigger and better simply because you can reinvest more into it. We're still gonna have the same $300 of fixed costs per month. And beautifully, instead of netting $77 per customer, we're now gonna net $242 per customer. And what that's going to mean for you at the end of the day as a business owner is instead of needing 30 customers to reach $2,000 per month, you only need 10. You have a far less stressful life servicing 10 customers than you do servicing 30. You have more money to go find those customers. And this business can become passive for you the moment you want it to because you have calculated in your personal replacement cost. These are the true numbers behind how financial freedom works. So if you want to play around with the calculator for your side hustle or business, the link to get it for free is in the top comment. And if you're not sure what side hustle or business you should start, you definitely want to check out this video right here.